In this video, we're talking about how do you draw and fade the golf ball, simple ways to make the ball curve, understand how to control it, and hopefully shoot lower scores. All right, hey everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you here. We are inside at my training facility. We want to go over today hitting draws and fades, okay? The basics of how does the ball work, how do we keep the ball in play, and hopefully you'll understand a couple of things about ball flight here that will hopefully make sense for you. So if you have one of these issues like a slice or a hook, maybe you can start working on correcting those as you go. But before we do that, make sure if you're not already a subscriber, click that subscribe button down below. We've got a lot of videos coming up. We've been outside filming, getting some on-course stuff. So we're gonna go over that. Also gonna go over a review of, just did our college tournament over the last couple of days. Just some thoughts on that is what I saw is how rounds are put together, things like that. So if you're interested in shooting lower scores this summer, make sure you don't miss out on those. So click that subscribe button. So, all right, let's get into it. Let's start talking about draws and fades. So drawing and fading the golf ball is a it's a simple idea that is really often misunderstood when you start coming from it. So the first thing you have to realize when we're gonna draw or fade the golf ball is what's actually going on. And all that's happening when we are using a golf ball and a club is we are putting spin on that ball, right? Sounds simple enough. However, a lot of people don't think of it that way. They think, oh, that I'm either, like let's say somebody hits a hook. I mean, immediately it has to be over the top. The ball went left, so my swing had to travel left. And quite frankly, it's exactly the opposite. Same thing with the slice. A lot of times as people try to fix their slice, they go for the exact opposite fix than what they should do. So that's really critical in helping people get better, is helping you understand what we would call ball flight laws. And these are going to be two of the more critical ones that you need to know, because these are also the ones that I think we play with the most. As far as when you're playing the golf course, you want to hit shots, you're going to be adjusting these things as you go through. So we've got the hula hoop here, and we're going to go through a couple of things to show you how we do this. So we're going to make a couple of assumptions as we go through this demonstration. So the first thing is going to be, we're going to assume you are hitting the dead center of the golf club. Okay, we're going to make that assumption. Now, that does affect your ability to draw or fade the ball. With irons, if you hit it on the toe, it's going to do one thing. Hit it on the heel or even the hosel, it's obviously going to do its own thing. Trying to control draws and fades has an effect on where the ball goes. Same thing with the driver. Now, it could have different effects because of gear effect, but just understand that if you're not hitting the ball on the center of the club, that's where you got to start first. Got other videos that talk about that, and we always will be talking about that, but go check those out first. If you're having an issue where you can't get the club onto the ball ever, then that might be where you need to start first. But this also, what we're going to talk about, could help you find the center a little bit too. But let's start talking about the two things that cause a draw or a fade. So the first one is going to be the club face, okay? Now, the club face, where that's pointed in relation to my swing, that's going to have a huge impact on where we start the golf ball and then also the spin that we put on the ball. So for our demonstration here, we're going to just keep the club face pointed straight ahead. Now, I know for those that know more about this, you would know that, hey, I don't necessarily want the club face straight ahead. That's all good. We'll get to that later. Let's just assume we're going to point the club face straight ahead. So let's start with the draw, okay? Because everybody, it seems like, wants to hit a draw. They want to be able to move the ball from a right-hander right to left, see that ball go. Well, how would we do that? Again, we're going to have a straight club face. But if I'm going to get this ball to draw, okay, with a straight club face, let's start looking at our swing path. So that's what this hula hoop is going to represent. Now, if I get the hula hoop on the angle of the golf club, and if you look at a golf club here, if I was going to swing this straight back and straight through and just keep the hula hoop straight, what you'd actually see from the camera view is that club is actually not going straight back at all. It's actually working its way inside, and actually when it comes through, it's going to come through to the inside direction. So already we can see that the golf club swings on an arc, okay? That's first thing that people don't see when they're trying to draw the golf ball. They think they've got to go straight back, straight through. If I bring this golf club straight back, okay, I'm going to have to do something like work it out this way, and then I'm going to have to work back. I'm off the plane. I'm going to have to work back to the plane, and then that causes me to start cutting across it. When in reality, we want to see this golf club work on an arc first. That's going to allow us to deliver the golf club correctly. Now, if I want to draw the ball, what I need to see happen is I need to have a path that swings from inside to out, okay, or to the right direction. Again, we're assuming the club face is square, so that means we're just going to be swinging to the right of the ball. What's going to happen is because the face is pointed straight ahead, I'm going to kind of work across the golf ball. That's going to impart some draw spin. That's how we get that ball to curve to the right. So what it would look like is this circle here, this hula hoop, again, club face is square, is just going to start working on in. You can see it's going to work its way into the ball as we go, okay? So that's the first key concept that we have to see is, all right, my golf club has to be working on an outward direction, okay? Again, a lot of people would say, all right, my ball is hooking to the left, it's curving left, it's got to be an over-the-top direction. Well, that's the exact opposite of where this hula hoop is going, okay? So that's where a lot of people will get that wrong, and if you're a slicer, you really have issues as well because, again, they think, oh, I've got to go over the top to make it go left, when in reality, as we go over this, you'll see it makes it go right. So what can we do to work on that? Well, there's a couple of things. One, if you're just starting out, what I do again is get the club face pointed straight, and I've got my alignment rod here to help me with that, and I'm just going to angle my body and aim way off to the right. And then all I'm going to do is make some swings. Again, the goal is to keep the club face square, so it's going to really feel like it's going behind you almost. And I'm just going to make some swings, keeping that club face in that position. And what we're going to see is that ball is going to curve from right to left, okay? First things first, just getting a feel for how to get that to happen, okay? What you can then do is start working on ways for your swing to help that. If you want, you can start squaring up a little bit, making some swings and seeing if you can swing it out to the rightward direction. That is always an option. But again, as you do that, you do have to make sure the face returns square to the golf ball. If I can do that, I should be able to send the golf ball off and put that draw shape into the golf ball. Very, very simple to do. However, again, a lot of people's misunderstanding of how to hit it straight gets them there. So conversely, okay, or in the opposite way, we're going to talk about going for the fade or a slice. So if for the draw, we're swinging outward to get that draw spin, for the fade, we need to be swinging more in to get the cut spin, all right? So this is where, if we were to take our circle, again, face would stay square, but I'm just going to make my swing path travel along this hula hoop more. And you can see with the face open, I'm going to cut across it. Again, I can do that by opening up my stance, or I can work on, in my swing, getting some feels that will get me to hit some sort of a cut motion on the shot. And you can see that when I do that, it will go higher. It's going to go shorter because of the way I'm doing it right now, but that's generally what we get for most people. So that's how we hit a draw, or that's how we hit a fade, okay? You're influencing the club path and the face, okay? So as we go do this, let's talk about some of the key motions I see that people struggle with when they try to do these things. So a couple of the key concepts I hear are, all right, well, I've got to fire my hips, right? I've got to turn more in the downswing. That's what's going to get me to draw the ball. Well, here's what happens when I see people do that. They get up here, they bring it back, okay, and they fire, and that golf club works out, and it actually gets the club cutting across. With our ball flight laws, okay, again, as we go through this, when I start cutting across, okay, that's actually going to get the path going more to the left. The only way I would actually hit a draw would be to pull it and then draw it, which isn't very functional. You wouldn't be able to play golf with that. So a lot of times when we have people that are trying to draw the golf ball or stop slicing it, we actually want to see them turn more in the backswing, get that club more behind them, and feel like they're not turning it all in the downswing. Just working on hitting shots, more turn, coming through, get that ball to draw, okay? Feeling like there's less body motion going on as they go through, okay? Now this is where a lot of players, on the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, we hear about, the hip turn that they have. Well, they do that because, quite honestly, the shot most players dread on those levels, those elite levels, is some sort of a hook. So they do work a lot on clearing their body, getting their hips more open, because they are trying to stop the ball from going left. However, if that's not your problem, that's not something you want to do. So again, if you're trying to get the ball to draw, that's what you would work on. Now, if you are somebody that has a hook issue or a pulling issue, okay, then yeah, we would actually really want to see our chest open up a little more, our body open up a little more. That would actually get the path to swing a little bit more to the left, okay, which then would help me straighten out my ball flight, so I didn't get as much of a hook, right? You can even see I hit a little bit of a fade there. So again, it's where do you want to go with your ball flight? But first off, understanding what causes each one. How does path and face relate, okay? Again, we did it very simply here. If you kept the face straight on, you would start seeing that if you swing to the right, you get the ball to draw. If you swing to the left, you get the ball to fade. The ball will go in the opposite direction. Okay. Now, one last little bit that as you're doing it, what I would do is to start this off, I would actually just work on hitting very general shots, big draws, big fades, predict what it's going to do, see the ball flight do it. Okay. Then if you want to get it to a target, okay, as I'm working on this, I would adjust a little bit. We're talking degrees here, which you can't even see 1 degree. So we're talking 1, 2, or 3 degrees. I would like to see somebody adjust where the face is at just a little bit at the start as they're trying to make these big path motions. That's where you will start to see the ball go relative to your target. But again, you want to start off big, general idea, get the ball curving, understand this idea of, all right, I've got to swing out that way. That's what gets the ball to curve back. Got to swing to the left. That's what gets it to curve to the right. So you want to get those ideas ingrained. It's really going to help you as you get out there. And it's also going to be nice. It's going to give you more options on the course. Also give you some ways to get out of trouble. It's also going to let you understand, hey, you saw the fade goes a little shorter. If I hit a fade and I'm in between clubs, I could hit a fade and actually take off a couple yards. Or I could hit a draw and actually add yardage. So it gives you a lot of options when you learn how to curve the ball. But the biggest thing is when you step up to a hole, we talk with our players all the time about timing, okay? Not timing in your golf swing, but timing in a round of golf. You have to be able to get that ball to curve left if you've got trouble on the right side of the course. You've got to be able to avoid that. That's some of the most key things. It's not about hitting everything perfect, but it is about avoiding the disaster shots. So when you start to understand ball flight, when there's trouble on one side, I know how to make sure it doesn't go towards that huge trouble disaster area. So that's another great thing when you start learning to draw or fade it. So again, hopefully this helps you out. Leave some comments down below if you have questions about ball flight. This was a very basic general overview of how do you get the ball to curve, okay? We want you to understand that as you're playing golf, you want to see the ball moving the right direction. That's huge to getting better. And if you can do that, I guarantee you'll shoot lower scores. So leave us some comments down below. What are your questions about ball flight? How does that work? Now we can add in a couple of things. We'll go into a little bit more of an advanced ball flight discussion in another video. Okay, we'll talk about angle of attack, things like that. But really wanted to give a super general discussion about, all right, here's what ball flight is, because what I see people do is I see people making changes to their golf swings with a desired ball flight in mind, and what they're doing doesn't make sense. So we want to make sure that's what we're doing. That's how you're going to get better. That's how you're not going to get lost, and you're going to play better golf and be more confident. So hopefully this video helps. Again, if you're not a subscriber, make sure you click that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you in future videos.